Welcome everyone back to another edition of the Namsnoodle podcast. I just wanted to tackle on what's been going on with me currently. With the new job coming up, lots of anxiety. Some of it has also led me to being depressed, just thinking about the future and whatnot. Before we go on to talk about that, let's continue a little bit on from my previous mini podcast episode and covering the Colin Kaepernick situation. It's still ongoing. It's still making headlines. What he's doing now. Apparently, he's going to continue to sit out during the national anthem until whatever he believes is affirmative action is taken to so his message is indeed heard loud and clear of the blacks and minorities being oppressed. Now, I'm not saying whether it's fact or not, or whether it's the actual reason, but I've seen uh, reports about him. His wife is a Muslim and she's an activist, I believe, in the Black Lives Matter movement, and that she's trying to convert him into Islam. And I said though that yeah, it's his right to sit down, but I just hope he realizes that in any other country he won't have that right to do so. So just it's an ironic situation. While yes, he does, like I said, he does have that right. You kind of should still stand, but whatever. Now, starting with my new job brings anxiety. Change can bring anxiety on for me like no one else's business. I'm excited for the new opportunity and to be working for better pay, and I think this job, as opposed to my last one, has a chance to let me get a better opportunity and maybe move up in the place. But having said that, like this, the anxiety comes really bad. The uncertain, then like when I talk about the future, like my parents are my go-to source for whenever I have a problem. And I'm sure that's like that with a lot of people as well. I mean, when push comes to shove, through the thick and thin, and as my uncle said, when the shit gets thick, the friends get thin. And boy, do I believe that to a T, 100%. It's just and you remember being a kid. It's like when you were growing up or being a teenager. Oh, how your parents are so embarrassing. You didn't want your friends to see whatever they do, or you felt like I said, you just felt like embarrassed to be around them. But if you were sick or if you were in the hospital, who was it that you always wanted? Mom and dad. One of your parents there to comfort you because you were scared. And whenever you're scared to this day, who do you want there with you? Mom and dad. And just thinking about it, because we all die. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We all die. We all have our day. But when I think about their inevitable death, which why? I mean, they're only 58 and 59. But my mom has had a health scare, and my dad, he's in good health too himself. But you just really start to realize that there's probably more years behind them than there are ahead. And then like, what am I gonna do when they are dead? Like, I worry about that. Who do I go to if I need help? If I get into some sort of financial situation, where do I go? Because and I know it sounds like, oh, you could make the argument, oh, you need mommy and daddy. No, it's just the comfort and just like that reinforcement of everything's going to be okay. We'll get through this. But when you don't have that resource there anymore, it just makes my anxiety and my depression go up. I love my mom and dad, and I don't think I take them as for granted as much as I probably used to. I think a lot of us did take our parents for granted because we don't realize how much they took care of us and raised us well. I mean, for the most part. I mean, there's cases out there where people do have had a troubling childhood growing up and their parents weren't kind to them or didn't raise them right. But I mean, for the most part, just in general, our parents were our the people who provided, took care of us, loved us, gave us unconditional love no matter what. No matter how much we screwed up, they always loved and cared for us, would always have our backs. And going through life, um, it's just you think you growing up, the people who you do make friends with, you think that you do have, someone does have your back, but as time goes on, people change, people fall into different cliques and social groups. That it's like you get left behind, and sometimes you even start falling into different cliques and social groups yourself, and you just drift away and you grow apart from each other. Meanwhile, though, your parents are always still there for you. And I kind of see that as well regarding friends. Like, I mean, I guess, yes, I'll always care about the certain particular people, but it just feels like our bond and our friendship is not as strong as it used to be. And that kind of depresses me as well. Another thing that depressed me yesterday, like I was in the town, and right across when I was visiting a friend, and right across where he lived is where my gram had lived in these apartments when starting in the year like 1999 all the way up to the year 2008 or so. I got depressed because it just made me think of my childhood and how much. And anytime I think of my childhood, I think about how great it was, and I wish I was a child again. And that makes me. You think it would make you happy, but sometimes it just makes me depressed. I mean, I would never want to get rid of the memories, though. But it just sucks because you realize things aren't the same as they used to be. It's it's hard to take comfort in a future with clouds surrounded around it, unless of course you have money and you're financially set and you don't really have to worry about that. There's people probably like someone. I'd probably say case in point would be like Nick Hogan, Hulk Hogan's son or his daughter. I'm not sure if they're really talented. I mean, Brooke, I think she got by on her looks, but some could say that's debatable because she looks a lot like her dad. Some say, and that she wasn't really talented in singing, but that's why she only got the opportunity because of her dad. I'm sure, and I'll say I'm sure if she was some regular Joe's daughter, she won't have the easy access to the industry in music and also in the wrestling world too. Even though because she was with Total TNA, Total Nonstop Action. That's the company's name, a wrestling organization, and she played a role there. And I'm sure that if it wasn't for her dad, that she probably wouldn't have just been able just to been on TV like that, get paid, and have financial security that way. And then their son, who was really I mean, I hate to be the one to judge, but I guess because of the comments he said, because when he had that crash that left a friend of his in a condition to where he'll have to receive 24/7 care for the rest of his life. He's unable to actually bathe himself, and he's as a former Marine. And then Nick Hogan didn't take any responsibility for what happened, and then it was like there was a leaked phone call or a leaked call. I don't know exactly what it was, but something was leaked where he was. I don't know if he was saying to his sister or his dad, but they said, "Oh, that I'm paraphrasing and everything," but it was like, oh, that he had karma and that he was such a negative person. Just complete no responsibility whatsoever. I mean, how can you justify that? How can you sit there and sleep at night knowing that you did that? Because and Nick Hogan had numerous traffic violations even before that devastating accident, and then for him just to basically try to blame someone else for his actions and the decisions he made. But I mean, and people like that, he's no different than me. The opportunities that were presented to him were probably because of his dad. I didn't have a dad that was in the industry where he had connections, and I could skip all the formal training or whatever I need to do and just go right to the top. And it's not like I blame my dad for that. It's just yeah, that'd be nice. But I don't. What did Nick Hogan sacrifice? He probably sacrificed his own character, just so he could do what he wanted without even trying. Uh, but let's get off. But yeah, just relating to myself. I mean, I wish I had those opportunities. Maybe it sounds bitter. Maybe I sound jealous. I don't know. I just know I want to pissed away. I want to have pissed it away like Nick Hogan. I guess that's what pisses me off is that he pissed it away. If you have that opportunity, by all means, hey, go for it, grab it, take advantage of it. More power to you. But when you piss it away like that, I think that's what pisses me off. And then he still probably just can still live the rather more comfortable, lucrative life than most, I'd say, because I'm sure he lives with his mom, for what I last heard, and since like his parents were divorced, I'm sure she received a nice settlement and got some money, and then he could just live off her, and then that when she dies, the money can go to him and his sister, and his sister still sings and makes money, so I mean he could just bounce back and forth between that. And it's still his dad too. I mean, sure, his dad might take care of him as well financially. I'm sure, or in some way, if he wanted to, if he needed it, his dad would give it to him. But what parent wouldn't help their kid, right? I mean, I'm sure there's parents out there be like, nope, they get, and rightfully so, but they'd be like, nope, you got yourself in that situation, you need to get yourself out. But when it comes like the mental health, I just not sure if sometimes if it's harder for when strangers don't know your condition. It's even harder if you feel like your parents might not completely get it too. Because I mean, they're not the ones who are the ones living with it, but they try to identify as much as they can. I know my dad does, and my mom understands it more. I think she's studied and read up on it a lot. And another thing that I wanted to talk about also was about, like, even though I want to understand more about my symptoms and my conditions, sometimes I don't want to read about it because it's like looking at my own mortality, so to speak. Looking at my own fate, and ignorance is bliss, I guess. Not knowing is like sometimes better, right? Out of sight, out of mind. But I mean, I do want to like understand mental health altogether as a whole more, and research it and understand the causes and effects. But it's like I said, it's just for me, when I start researching it and looking at it, it just makes me become depressed. Double-edged sword there, as I'd basically just say simply. I'm just getting this off my chest. I just needed to talk about things about change and financial stability and the struggles of life. I know I'm not the only one that goes through it, so I'm not asking for a pity party. I'm just trying to get out there, let my voice be heard, trying to relate to others, and let them know that they're not alone as well. I'm scared every day. That's what my anxiety it does to me. It's just I wish. It's a terrible thing to say, but sometimes it's like I wish I was never born. Now, I don't want to die, but I just wish sometimes I was never born, because then I would have had to go through this. And like I said, it's a terrible thing to say, but I always want to, though, do my best and give everything a try, even if I end up failing. I want to at least attempt something. Oops, sorry, but that is something I want to, just to remind myself to at least try and attempt something. No matter what it is, working on a new job, trying something new, whether like if it's like a new hobby, if maybe you'll like it. Trying a new musical instrument, even if you're not the best, try do something. Just to it also gets your mind off things, because when you're sitting around doing nothing, you start thinking too much, and that's when your own mind becomes dangerous. Like a doctor of mine said before, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the same lines like that as well. Never enter your own mind by your mind by yourself. It's a dangerous place, or it's scary, or it was something along those lines. But like the point he was trying to make is, like, we drive ourselves. We can drive ourselves nuts. It's scary, and it can be a dark place at times if we make it that way. it's just my anxiety and my depression are kind of through the roof right now. Like I said, I just need to get this off my chest. So that was another edition of the Namsnoodle podcast. Feel free to leave a message, feedback. Anything would be greatly appreciated. I'll leave a link to my Facebook and Twitter links. You could check them out and see whenever I update, and check out the latest whenever I come out with something new. So with that said, as always, I'm Nam, and always use your noodle.